Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise, distill the really important stuff for you.
That's the goal.
And today, we are plunging into, well, frankly, a massive challenge, but also a huge opportunity.
Which is?
Our energy systems. We've got an aging grid. Demand is just skyrocketing. Think AI, electric vehicles, and, of course, the huge global push for decarbonization.
It's a really complex dance, isn't it? Requires just unprecedented innovation. We're talking about the backbone of modern society, basically.
Exactly. And our mission today is to dig into how artificial intelligence, AI, isn't just this massive energy hog, which, let's be clear, it definitely is, but it's also becoming a foundational technology.
Right. It's actually transforming the energy grid itself.
Making it more resilient, more efficient, better able to handle what's coming. We want to give you that sharp edge, understanding this vital topic.
From powering these giant data centers all the way to enabling what some people are calling a self-healing grid.
Yeah, get ready for some hopefully compelling insights, maybe a few aha moments that kind of shift how you see things.
So for this deep dive, we've got insights from two really strong sources. First, an interview with Brandon Oyer. He's the head of America's Power and Water for Amazon Web Services, AWS.
Right.
And second, a detailed analysis called The Resilient Grid, AI-driven energy management innovations.
So a mix of corporate strategy from a huge player and deep technical analysis.
Thanks, Lee. It gives a fascinating perspective on this whole evolving landscape.
Okay, so to really get a handle on where AI fits in, we probably need to zoom out first, right? Look at the bigger picture, these dramatic shifts in energy.
Good idea. And Brandon Oyer offers some really interesting history on the U.S. grid.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he points out that, from the 50s to the early 2000s, it grew pretty steadily, like 8% a year, robust growth.
Wow, 8% is a lot.
It is. But then from the early 2000s to around 2020, that growth just tanked, dropped below 1% a year.
Why the big drop?
Mostly because there was a huge focus on energy efficiency, doing more with less power.
Right, makes sense. But
now what's really striking is we're snapping back. We're seeing growth projections heading back towards that 7-8% range again.
Whoa. So what's driving that surge? Is it all just AI data centers?
Well, they're definitely a big piece of the puzzle, no doubt. But it's not just them. It's a confluence of things.
Like what?
Electric vehicles taking off, more buildings switching to electric heating and cooling, even manufacturing coming back onshore, lots of different demands hitting at once.
Okay.
And Oyer makes this interesting point that this diversity of load, having lots of different kinds of demand, is actually good for utilities.
How so?
It creates a more stable, more predictable demand profile compared to, say, just one massive concentrated source switching on and off.
Okay. That makes sense. So it smooths things out a bit.
Exactly. Which brings us to Brandon Oyer himself. His background is pretty unique.
Yeah, you mentioned AWS, but what's his story?
He started in the Navy, actually ran nuclear reactor plants on submarines.
Seriously, from nuclear subs to cloud power.
Yep. Quite the leap, right? But it definitely signals a deep understanding of complex energy systems.
No kidding. And Amazon, AWS, they're obviously a huge player here.
Colossal. They've got a goal of net zero carbon by 2040, and they've been the world's biggest corporate buyer of renewable energy for, 5 years running now?
5 years, wow.
Over 600 projects, 28 countries. The scale is just massive. But what's really insightful is how they're approaching it.
How do you mean?
They're not just thinking like a consumer buying power. They're actively trying to shape the whole energy ecosystem, proactively generating and procuring clean energy.
Okay, so they're not just plugging in their data centers. They're trying to build a better plug, essentially.
That's a good way to put it, which leads right into Amazon's toolbox for a sustainable power future. Oyer calls it a multi-pronged strategy.
A toolbox. I like that.
Yeah, and their core philosophy seems to be there's no one solve for energy. You can't just do one thing. It demands innovation across the board.
That no one solve idea really hits home. It shows the scale of the challenge, but also, I guess, the need for all these different solutions. So what's in the toolbox?
Well, they're still investing heavily in the traditional renewables, wind and solar. Makes sense.
Sure.
And battery storage too, but strategically, putting it where it provides real capacity value back to the grid.
Okay, so not just batteries everywhere, but where they make the most grid impact.
Exactly. But here's where it gets really interesting, I think. They're betting on small modular reactor.
Oh, SMRs.
Yeah.
SMRs.
Yeah.
Heard a lot about those. Amazon's actually investing?
They are. They've put equity into a company called X Energy, and they have an off-take agreement basically a promise to buy power with Energy Northwest.
So they're putting their money where their mouth is, betting on SMRs for firm, clean, carbon-free power.
That's the plan. The public timeline they're looking at is early to mid-2030s for this stuff to come online.
Yeah. Still a ways out, but a significant bet on next-gen nuclear.
Definitely. And beyond just generating power, they're also laser-focused on efficiency within their data centers.
Right, making the beast less hungry.
Precisely. It's not just about the big power plants, it's meticulous stuff, like using low-carbon concrete for building improving cooling systems.
The little things that add up at their scale.
Huge impacts, even tiny percentage gains matter when you're operating at Amazon scale. It shows sustainability is really baked into how they operate.
And it's not just internal stuff, right? You mentioned partnerships.
Yeah, their strategic partnerships are making a big economic splash too. Mississippi is a great example.
What happened there?
Amazon's investing, I think it's around $10 billion for 2 big data center complexes.
Okay, massive investment.
But it's not just about them securing power. They forged this first-of-its-kind deal with the local utility Energy.
The deal to do what?
To help fund up to 650 megawatts of new solar projects over 3 years.
Wow. So Amazon's investment is directly enabling new renewable generation for the whole region.
That's the idea. It shows how a big energy user can actually become an engine for grid modernization, for deploying clean energy locally. Plus, thousands of construction jobs, broader economic boost for the community.
So building responsibly, collaboratively, not just dropping a data center and plugging it in.
Right. And this whole approach brings us to a really crucial point, maybe a bit counterintuitive.
Which is?
The unexpected synergy of AI, not just as an energy consumer, but as an energy solution.
Okay, now that's interesting. Because usually the narrative is all about AI's massive energy footprint.
And that footprint is absolutely real, no question. But the twist is Amazon is using AI to help get more power onto the grid and add useful features to it.
So AI is both the hungry beast and the master chef, helping cook up solutions.
Kinda, yeah. Like Amazon SageMaker, that's their machine learning platform. They use it to crunch tons of data.
To do what specifically?
To predict exactly the best times to charge and discharge a big battery system to provide the most benefit to the grid. They're doing this at their Baldy Mesa plant in California, for example.
Okay, optimizing storage with AI. What else?
They're even using AI-powered robots to help install solar farms faster,
Right.
literally speeding up the deployment of renewable energy.
Robots building solar farms.
Yeah.
AI optimizing batteries. It's amazing how fast this is moving from theory to, actual physical infrastructure.
It really is.
Right.
And Brandon Oyer adds some important nuance about power being a constraint.
Right, because you hear, we don't have enough power for all this AI.
Exactly. And while he acknowledges power is critical, he stresses it's just one piece of a much bigger puzzle for running AI at scale.
What are the other pieces?
Things like finding the right site, zoning permissions, actually building the data centers, getting the workforce, the server racks, the cabling, the chips themselves. It all has to line up.
So power is necessary, but not sufficient.
Pretty much. He seems confident utilities will keep building the needed infrastructure, and Amazon's focus is on these long-term, durable partnerships to make it all work together.
Okay.
And another key point, data centers aren't necessarily running flat out, 2047 peak demand all the time.
Right, their load varies.
So Amazon uses that flexibility. They participate in demand response programs.
Meaning they can power down slightly when the grid is stressed.
Exactly, or shift workloads. And they use their battery systems to do what's called peak shaving.
Peak shaving.
Yeah, discharging the battery during peak demand hours to reduce their draw from the grid. This helps balance the grid overall and avoids firing up those expensive, often less clean peaker power plants.
So providing valuable flexibility back to the system.
Right, which leads us to the really big question. Given all this power and potential, how is AI not just, interacting with the grid, but fundamentally redefining it?
Yeah, how does it change the game entirely? That resilient grid analysis must dig into this.
It does. It details this profound paradigm shift. Because the traditional grid, the centralized one we've had for a century, it just wasn't built for the complexities we're throwing at it now. AI is enabling this shift to something much more dynamic, intelligent, and truly resilient.
Okay, let's talk about resilience. What does that actually mean in this context? It's more than just keeping the lights on, right?
Much more. Reliability is just delivering power consistently. Resilience is the grid's ability to anticipate disruptions, withstand them when they happen, adapt to changing conditions, and then rapidly recover.
Anticipate, withstand, adapt, recover.
Right.
And disruptions could be anything.
Anything from severe weather or equipment failure due to age, all the way to sophisticated cyber attacks or even physical attacks. AI turns resilience from just a characteristic into an active, intelligent capability, almost like software-defined resilience.
Software-defined resilience, I like that. So let's really contrast the old way with this new AI-enhanced grid.
Yeah.
How different does it look?
It's like night and day. Think about decision-making. Traditional grid. It's mostly manual, based on limited data, often reactive. Something breaks, then you react.
Okay.
With AI. It's automated, it's driven by vast amounts of data, and it happens in real time or even predictively.
And data flow.
Used to be pretty much one-way power plant down the wires to the consumer. Now, with smart meters, IoT sensors everywhere, it's this massive bidirectional flow of information.
Millions of data points coming back.
Exactly. And control used to be highly centralized. Now, AI enables decentralized, distributed control. It can coordinate millions of different assets, batteries, solar panels, EVs, smart thermostats all across the system.
Wow. Okay, what about when things go wrong? Fault response.
Huge difference. Traditionally, reactive. An outage happens, alarms go off somewhere, eventually crews get dispatched. Takes time.
Often a lot of time.
Right. With AI, it can be proactive and autonomous. The system can predict potential faults, detect actual faults in milliseconds, automatically isolate the problem area.
Isolate it.
By automatically rerouting power flows around the fault. That's the self-healing part. It reconfigures the grid on the fly to minimize the outage or even prevent it entirely.
Self-healing. That's incredible. Millisecond response times.
Yeah. And asset management changes too. Instead of just replacing equipment on a fixed schedule, whether it needs it or not.
Which must be inefficient.
Very. AI enables predictive, condition-based maintenance, fixing things before they break, based on real data about their health. Just-in-time maintenance for the grid.
Smarter, cheaper, more reliable.
Okay.
What about renewables? It can be tricky for the old grid, right? The intermittency.
Exactly. Solar and wind fluctuate. That can cause instability in a traditional grid that expects steady power sources.
So how does AI help?
AI is brilliant at forecasting. It can predict renewable output with high accuracy. And it can optimize energy storage batteries to smooth out those fluctuations. So you get seamless integration, not instability.
Okay, so it manages the variability.
Yep.
And the overall speed must just be faster.
Orders of magnitude faster. Decisions that used to take minutes or hours can happen in milliseconds to seconds, near instantaneous adjustments.
It's a completely different operational philosophy.
It really is. And here's maybe the most profound shift in thinking.
Yeah.
In the old grid model, adding complexity like thousands of rooftop solar systems, millions of EV chargers, that makes the grid more fragile, harder to manage.
Right, more variables, more potential problems.
But for an AI-driven grid, that complexity, that flood of data from all those devices, that becomes its essential fuel. More complexity makes the AI smarter, more aware, more resilient.
Wow, okay. That's a complete inversion. Complexity goes from being a liability to an asset.
Exactly. More data points, more connected devices, more distributed energy resources. These aren't burdens for an AI grid. They are the inputs that make it more intelligent, more robust, more adaptable. It thrives on complexity.
That's a fundamental shift. And are we seeing the concrete benefits of this yet? Are there numbers?
Oh yeah, the impacts are already being quantified, and they're pretty compelling. Let's look at predictive maintenance first.
Yeah.
In Germany, the utility E.ON used AI to predict cable failures. They cut cable-related outages by up to 30%.
30% fewer outages just from predicting cable faults. That's huge.
It is. In Italy, Enel used IoT sensors and AI on their power lines, achieved about a 15% reduction in outages on the lines they monitored.
Just by watching them more intelligently.
Right. And closer to home, Argonne National Lab ran some models.
Yeah.
Their AI model suggested they could potentially cut maintenance costs for solar inverters by like 43 to 56% and reduce unnecessary trips by repair crews by 66%.
Huge savings in cost and time. Plus, better uptime for solar.
Definitely. And utilities like Exelon here in the U.S. are using AI-powered computer vision, basically AI analyzing images on drone.
Drones inspecting power lines.
Exactly. Detecting physical defects, rust, damage, whatever. Makes inspections way safer, faster, and more efficient than sending people climbing up towers.
Okay, those are really substantial improvements on the maintenance side. What about integrating renewables better?
Also seeing big gains there. Google's DeepMind, for instance, used their neural networks to forecast wind farm output 36 hours ahead.
36 hours. pretty far out.
Yeah, and they found it increased the economic value of that wind power by about 20%. Better predictions mean better decisions on when to sell the power or store it.
Makes sense. More value from the same wind turbines.
Right. And in the UK, the National Grid Operator, ESO, uses AI for something they call nowcasting solar generation.
Nowcasting, like forecasting for right now.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Predicting solar output almost in real time. This lets them reduce their reliance on keeping natural gas power plants spinning on standby, just in case the sun goes behind a cloud.
Ah, so less need for expensive fossil-fueled backup.
Exactly. Leads to significant cost savings and, importantly, lower emissions.
So all these specific optimizations,
Mhm.
predictive maintenance, better forecasting, where does it all lead?
Well, arguably, the ultimate expression of all this, especially managing distributed resources, is the concept of the virtual power plant, or VPP.
Virtual power plant. Okay, unpack that.
Think of it as AI aggregating potentially thousands or millions of small distributed energy resources.
Like rooftop solar, home batteries.
Exactly. Rooftop solar, home batteries, EV chargers, even flexible loads like smart water heaters or thermostats that can shift their energy use slightly.
Okay, all these little pieces.
AI brings them all together and orchestrates them so they can act like a single large dispatchable power plant in the wholesale energy markets.
Wow. So my house battery and my neighbor's EV, multiplied by thousands, could bid into the energy market like a traditional power station.
That's the concept. AI is the indispensable brain, the central coordinator making it all possible, turning all that distributed potential into a unified, valuable grid resource.
That's a pretty powerful vision for the future grid, but it sounds great, but it can't be easy. There must be hurdles, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely not a smooth path. There are significant barriers to getting this widely adopted right now.
Like what? What are the main roadblocks?
Well, you can group them into a few areas. First, there are technical challenges.
Okay.
AI models need tons of data, as we said, high-quality data, accessible data, many utilities. With older systems, maybe siloed data, just don't have that readily available yet.
The data problem.
Yeah. Then there's the challenge of integrating shiny new AI systems with legacy infrastructure, old transformers or switches that weren't built with sensors or communication capabilities.
Trying to connect the old with the new.
Right. And a really crucial one is the black box problem of AI.
Meaning we don't always know why the AI made a certain decision.
Exactly. In critical infrastructure like the power grid, you need trust, you need transparency, you need to be able to audit decisions. If the AI says, shut down this power line, operators need to understand why, or at least trust the reasoning. That lack of interpretability can be a major barrier.
So we need AI that can explain itself.
Pretty much. That's where explainable AI, or XAI, comes in. It's a huge area of research developing AI that can provide justifications for its outputs.
Okay, technical hurdles,
Yeah.
data, integration, explainability. What else?
Cybersecurity. This is a massive one.
Yeah, I can imagine. A smarter grid means more ways to attack it.
Dramatically expands the attack surface. You go from securing a few power plants and control centers to potentially millions of smart meters, connected devices, sensors out on remote towers, many more potential entry points for bad actors.
Scary thought.
And AI itself introduces new vulnerabilities, things like data poisoning,
Data poisoning.
where someone intentionally feeds malicious data into the AI model during its training phase to corrupt its learning, make it make bad decisions later.
Wow. Or messing with it during operation.
Yep, those are called adversarial attacks. Designing subtle, almost invisible inputs that trick the AI model into misinterpreting something, maybe missing a fault, or thinking there's a fault when there isn't one.
So new tech brings new security headaches.
It does, but it's worth pointing out, AI is also a powerful tool for cybersecurity defense.
How so?
Things like AI-powered intrusion detection systems. They can learn what normal grid behavior looks like with incredible detail, and then instantly flag any tiny anomaly that might signal a cyber attack, often much faster than humans could.
Okay, so AI is both a vulnerability and a potential guard dog, a double-edged sword.
A very sharp one. Requires extremely careful management and sophisticated defenses.
Okay, so technical challenges, cybersecurity, any other major hurdles?
Yeah, the regulatory and financial side, always a factor with utilities.
The rules haven't caught up with the tech.
Pretty much. A lot of the regulations governing the energy sector were written for a completely different era, a centralized, slow-moving system. They often don't easily accommodate these new, fast-evolving, distributed technologies.
So uncertainty about the rules of the game.
Right. And that links to finance. Utilities need to make huge upfront investments to deploy AI systems. But there's often a lack of clarity on how they can recover those costs through the rates they're allowed to charge customers.
If they can't be sure, they'll get their money back.
They might be understandably hesitant to invest as quickly or as broadly as the technology might allow. Justifying the return on investment can be tricky under old regulatory models.
Okay, that makes sense. And this brings us back to that tension you mentioned earlier, right? The AI power demand paradox.
Exactly. It's a critical point we need to keep circling back to.
Remind us again.
AI is this incredibly powerful tool for optimizing the grid, making it more efficient, integrating renewables, all the good stuff we talked about.
Right.
Beauty, the data centers needed to train and run these powerful AI models are themselves enormous consumers of electricity.
How enormous.
Projections are suggesting they could potentially exceed 1,000 terawatt hours globally by 2026. That's a staggering amount of power.
Yeah.
More than many countries use.
Wow. So we're using huge amounts of power to run AI that hopefully helps us manage power better.
That's the paradox. It forces this fundamental question. What is the net energy and climate impact of deploying this specific AI solution? Is the energy saved or the emissions reduced by the AI greater than the energy consumed and emissions generated by running the AI itself?
That's a huge question. It's not automatically a win, is it?
Not automatically, no. We have to be really rigorous about assessing that net impact.
So what are the solutions? How do we make sure AI is a net positive?
Several approaches. One is developing more energy-efficient AI models themselves, algorithms that require less computational power. That's a big focus in computer science.
Okay, leaner AI.
Another is co-locating these big data centers directly with large renewable energy sources, building them next to wind or solar farms, essentially.
Cutting transmission losses, using dedicated clean power.
Right. And the third links back to what we discussed earlier, leveraging the data centers themselves as flexible grid resources, using them in VPPs, using their batteries, their ability to shift loads, making the data center part of the solution, not just the problem.
Okay, so designing efficient AI, powering it cleanly, and making the data centers themselves grid-friendly.
That's the trifecta we need to aim for. How well we navigate this paradox is going to be crucial in determining if AI truly accelerates the energy transition or, perversely, hinders it.
Okay, so looking further ahead then, what's the ultimate destination? Where is all this AI integration heading?
The clear trajectory, the sort of holy grail, is towards a fully autonomous self-healing grid.
Autonomous and self-healing. That sounds like science fiction, but you're saying it's the real goal.
It's the real goal, and the building blocks are being put in place now. We're talking about a system that can, entirely on its own, autonomously and almost instantaneously detect a fault, like a tree falling on a line or equipment failure, analyze the situation, isolate that fault, and then reconfigure the power flows around it to restore service to as many customers as possible.
All in milliseconds. Before anyone even notices the lights flicker.
Potentially, yes. Often before humans could even become aware there was a problem, let alone diagnose and fix it.
So what are the core components needed for that?
You can think of it as three core functions. First, sensing and detection, having sensors everywhere, providing real-time data.
Okay, the eyes and ears.
Second, analysis and decision-making, that's the AI brain, processing the data, understanding the situation, deciding what to do.
The brain.
And third, action and restoration, automated switches and control systems out on the grid that can execute the AI's decisions immediately, rerouting power.
The hands. Eyes, brain, hands, all automated.
That's the vision. And there are even more cutting-edge technologies emerging that will likely accelerate this journey.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, consider digital twins.
Digital twin.
Yeah, creating these incredibly detailed, real-time virtual replicas of the physical grid, like a simulation that perfectly mirrors reality.
What's the benefit of that?
You can use it for risk-free testing and optimization. Want to see what happens if a major storm hits, or if you try a new control strategy. You can run it on the digital twin first, without any danger to the actual physical grid.
Okay, a super realistic sandbox for the grid.
Exactly. Then there's quantum computing. Still early days, but it has the potential to solve extremely complex optimization problems, like figuring out the absolute optimal power flow across a vast, complex grid that are just too hard for today's computers.
Tackling currently unsolvable problems.
Potentially. And even generative AI, the type of AI behind things like ChatGPT.
How does that fit in?
One potential use is creating synthetic data. It could generate realistic data simulating black swan events, maybe unprecedented weather patterns, or novel types of cyber attacks, things we don't have historical data for.
So you can train the grid's AI to handle events it's never actually seen before.
Yeah. Exactly, making it more robust against the truly unknown unknowns.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And putting it all together, what enables this truly autonomous future at a system level?
A key concept here is decentralized intelligence. It involves two main synergistic technologies, really.
Okay.
One is federated learning. This is a way to train AI models across multiple organizations or even multiple devices without anyone having to share their raw, potentially sensitive data.
Privacy-preserving AI training.
Yes, models learn collaboratively from decentralized data, and the other is multi-agent systems.
Multi-agent systems.
Think of it as having numerous small autonomous intelligent agents, software agents, distributed throughout the grid. Each one might control a small part, like a substation or a group of batteries, but they all coordinate and communicate to achieve the overall system goals.
So lots of little independent brains working together.
Kind of, yeah. When you combine federated learning for shared intelligence without shared data, and multi-agent systems for coordinated decentralized action, that really forms the blueprint for a truly autonomous, self-healing grid, one that learns and adapts collectively over time.
So the grid itself becomes almost like a collective intelligence.
That's a great way to think about it. Decentralized not just physically, but in its intelligence gathering, its learning, its adaptation, constantly improving itself based on experience across the entire system.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. To recap this deep dive, AI isn't just some speculative nice-to-have for the energy sector anymore, is it?
Not at all. It's rapidly becoming a fundamental necessity. We need it to build a grid that's resilient enough, reliable enough, and efficient enough to support a decarbonized future while meeting growing demand.
The technology seems proven, or at least rapidly proving itself, and the benefits, as you've shown, are becoming quantifiable.
They are. And while those challenges we discussed, technical, cybersecurity, regulatory, are significant, they don't seem insurmountable.
What's needed to overcome them?
Really, it boils down to strategic, collaborative, forward-looking action. Utilities, tech companies, regulators, researchers, everyone needs to work together across the whole energy ecosystem.
Makes sense. We can maybe leave folks with a final thought from Brandon Oyer himself.
Oh, yeah. What was his advice?
He advised anyone getting into this field now to always learn and be curious, and importantly, to dive deep into the details, because as he put it, the details matter in the energy market.
Good advice. It's complex stuff. This whole journey really does need that strategic, collaborative, forward-thinking approach he's talking about.
So here's a final provocative thought for you, our listeners, to mull over.
Okay.
If the power grid truly does evolve into this collective intelligence
Yeah.
that we just talked about, learning, adapting, self-healing, autonomous, what new possibilities does that actually unlock?
Yeah, what does it mean for communities, for industries, for the planet itself?
How might that fundamentally redefine our relationship with energy, with infrastructure? Something to think about. We really hope this deep dive has given you a fresh perspective, maybe a solid foundation for understanding this incredible transformation happening right now in our energy world.